Hi, and welcome to Manny's Makings. Today we're going to talk a little bit about sort of thinking up your own design and how does that process happen. Happens different from everybody. For the most part, what I've learned is that you'll come up with an idea, and lots of people come up with ideas, but they don't ever write them down. They don't do anything with them. They just forget about them. And 2 weeks later, you think, I had a good idea, but I didn't write it down. So first thing you need to do is start practicing putting your ideas on paper. Now, they can be as simple as little doodles. So this is I want to make a wire turtle, and I'm thinking about how that looks. So I doodled it. Okay. It can be as complicated as thinking about a doodle. This is a doodle that I made of a bead embroidery piece that I'm thinking about. So I'll explain it to you in a bit. But I start putting my doodles down, and yeah, I use Post-it notes, and I put them in a diary, and I can staple them in or tape them in if I want them to stay, for a long time. And then I can pull them out that way and use them next to my design process. So start, number one, doodling your work. So we're going to just pretend I'm going to do a fresh doodle, and I'm going to use this white paper rather than a Post-it note because it's bright yellow and it's really hard to see. So I'm thinking, I woke up one morning and I'm thinking, cabochons, centers for, a longer bracelet, right? They tend to have some kind of a centerpiece for the most part, unless you're doing sort of like, natural flowers if you're doing traditional native. I don't want to do traditional native this moment. I'm thinking I want to do something a little more fun. I love purple and green together. So I'm thinking about purple and green, and I'm thinking about the beads that I have and the things that are there, things that are possibilities. So I pull out a bunch of beads. I pull out some colorful ones. I think about some cabs. So these ones are these ones. I pull out, there's some new storm duos. There's some crystals. I can think about all kinds of fun and wonderful craziness, right? So we'll move those out of the way for the moment. So I'm thinking about, so I pull my beads out and I sort of take out some of the purples and greens that I love and think about what I have in stock, what I might need to order, what I want the whole thing to look like. I sort of start to imagine. So what I imagined was a cab with a picture frame, because I wanted to see if it couldn't be just the traditional go around and around and around. I thought, wouldn't it look cool if it sort of looked like it had a framed, I'm thinking about sort of those Victorian cabochon framed pieces. That's what my brain is doing, right? That's where I'm thinking. So I'm going to do a cab. So I'm going to draw just a fake cab. It's not the right size. It's not even close to the right size. And I'm thinking I have some fun beads. And I love these purple beads. So I'm thinking, well, they could be part of a frame. But I'm going to need to secure my cab in. So I'm going to just draw around the outside of my cab and my doodle, because these are the row of seed beads that I'm going to peyote stitch it up and over the cab to hold the cab in place. So it's going to take up some space, right? And then I need to think about, okay, well, I have some beads that I can put on. So I start my doodle and I can put my beads on, right? So these aren't the right size. You can see that they're not the right size, but I don't care. I'm not a good drawer. I don't claim to be a great drawer. So I'm just putting the beads on where I think I would maybe like them to go. So I'm thinking, okay, well, those could go there. And I can't draw. I could turn this around. So then I need something to fill in the middle, obviously, because I can't leave these big gaps here. So what else could I put on? Well, I got super duos that are sort of in a nice green color that I think would go really well. These are the Dark Jade Super Duo Travertine look. So I thought, okay, well, I could use the super duos. They could nestle nicely in here, and then I could like layer them up. That would be kind of fun. Let's see. So we get another super duo set here, and I'm not worrying about doodling the entire thing. I'm just doodling part of the thing. So these are bigger, and I know they're bigger, so let's make them bigger. So I can take my eraser, and that's what you use a pencil for, with an eraser, and let's make these bigger, because I know that these come out about the same distance as stacked super duos from playing with them before. So we'll make those a little bit bigger. So what else could I put in here? Whoops, sorry, I just hit my camera stand. So you could put crystal in here. So I could use a 3 or 4 millimeter. I'm not sure what size will fit in there yet. So I could put some crystals in here. And then I would need some seed beads, probably flanking it on either side. So I'm thinking about seed beads. Then I have a second hole in these. So I could do a string of seed beads coming across here. Or I could bring them up here. See how I'm starting to think my way through how do I want this picture frame to look. Okay. So you make your decisions. You come up with some ideas. Now gets the fun part. So now I pick a cabochon that I want. Let's pick this fun one. It's a crystal. It's an AB coated crystal. It's just a shaped one. I don't even know the size. I would have to look it up. It's 18 by 25 millimeter. Okay, so it's a fairly good sized crystal on a 2-inch bracelet. And I'm thinking about a 2-inch size. So then I take out I free my beads. Okay, and I get a pin. This is actually a ball pin, so I have something to hold on to. And I start putting my beads. I don't have to worry about the bezel because I know the bezel fits, you know, it's going to fit snug to the cabochon, so I'm not going to worry about that. So let's see what this looks like. If I put 3 of those up there, let's grab another 3, and 3 of those here. How much space do I have now? Well, I'm noticing that as I'm laying them down, that if I fit them tight together, they're going to sit sort of like more of a flower shape, where if I go like this and open them, they sit more of a frame shape. So that means I'm going to need to put a bead in between them. So I can open them and go, oh, I need a bead, more of a bead in between them. Okay, that's good. So then let's pull some crystals out. These are silver rainbow check glass, and these are 3 millimeter fire polished. I'm going to pull them out, free of the beads. And this is where you start to play with your color and you're thinking about ideas. So I'm going to pop those, and I know I moved everything. And this is where you have to sort of have a delicate touch. You just have to, you know, you can use an awl to do this. And these have silver in them, and I like silver with the green and the thing. So if I put 3 millimeter beads in there, whoops, this is the other side. 3 millimeter beads. And I would need some more purples to do at the bottom. I don't have to do 1/2. I'm just playing with 1/2 because I'm playing with the beads in proportion to the actual gemstone to see if I like, and I can just hold a mirror up here if I want, you know, a bathroom mirror, like, you know, you used to put your makeup on or whatever, to see if I want to see the whole thing, if I'm worried about it. So I think, okay, well, those crystals are really tiny. They may not work. Well, what else could I put in there? Well, I need to add some color, so let's move those out of the way. I need another color, and I like the green with the purple, right? And I like cream as well with the green and purple, so let's move those out of the way. And this is literally the process for me. So based on what I have and what I want to use, let's see where I got to find. Okay, so there's my super jewels. Now, super jewels don't lay properly. You can't get them to lay on their end, but they'll give you an idea of coloring. So I just put a couple in here, and I just pick them up by the holes, and then put them in here, sort of move them beside each other. What does that look like? Let's move this inward, closer to where it should be. What do that purple and green look like together? Oh, I kind of like that. And on this board, this one's not great. A white board would be better, or a white piece of paper, but the beads will roll around on the paper, just warning. So if you have a bead on it board, or one of those types of things. Ooh, I had more green. I like it better. See how this is starting to shape up? So I want to put some crystally type beads, pearly looking beads, as a part of the mix. Now, I know some of you out there are going to go, when I do this, but watch. I'm going to go like this, and I'm just going to pour some of these sort of around here. I'm just pouring them around, putting them in between, and then I can play with them with I'm just going to play with them with my needle. tuck them in a little bit, move the ones that are too far out. Let's tuck some in here. Just picking up my beads, and see how I'm starting to play with color. Okay, I'm starting to play with color. So I'm going to show you the picture that I actually took once I played. I just got to find it for you. Okay, so you can see this. This is the picture of me. This is just the beads and me playing, and I was actually playing on a piece of lacy stiff stuff. See how the beads are all laid out? I don't know if you can see that if it's blurred. There's beads laid out in different patterns. It takes a long time to do this. There was like a stone I did, and I laid them out thinking about how, and I sort of poured puddles of color blocks of things I thought I might want to use and where I might want to use them. And so this is the process. So I have this puddle of beads, and this is a 2-inch piece of lacy stiff stuff, so I want my bracelet no bigger than 2 inches. I sort of gave myself some basic guidelines of where I want my bracelet to go, and I have puddles of beads. Yes, you have to clean up the beads afterwards. It's not a end of the world, but then I can see how I like the look of them together, and I can, you know, take a picture of them. But then when you look at it from farther back, and you see some of my bead choices that are laying there, when I look at it farther back, I get an idea of the color of the theme. See, I got another one here. There's a closer section of the middle section, so I can sort of see what beads I used and think about them. And there's just puddles of beads. There's just puddles of beads. So look, there's a puddle of beads. Nothing's attached to anything. It's just puddles of beads. So play with the beads you have and start to develop patterns for yourself of things that you like, and come up with a color scheme that works for you. Now, this stone changes color as you move it around. So I could definitely go with darker purples. I could go even with some yellows if I wanted. I could go with some blues or some blue tones in there if I use this stone. But watch, I can also take the stone out and go like this and go, here's another cab that's almost the same size. Ooh, it changes the look completely, right? So, and that's what you do, is you play with what you have, play with puddles of beads, and work on coming up with a concept of what you think might work together. It also allows you to do things like, if I take this big bicone, I got these sent to me as a free gift, and I don't tend to use stuff this big. So this is a big old bicone. Let's say I decided I wanted, instead of these, I wanted to try to put a silver bicone in there. Does that work? Am I happy with that big silver bicone? Would that work in this case? It feels really high. It feels, I don't know. And let me put this back in. With this here, it's not so bad. I might use them in this one because of this particular cab. So I could get away with that. But if I don't like it, I just put that bead type away and go, that's not a good match. Now here's another one I'll show you. So I thought that this color might look good with these beads. And in the tube, hypothetically, if I look at them in the tube, with all this color here, I thought, oh, that would look really good. But watch what happens when I pull them out of the tube. When I pull them out of the tube and I put them on the mat, look how much green, yellow greener they are. They're not blue green, they're a yellow green. See how they're very different looking? This I culled out and went, nope, that's not going to work. I don't like it. It's too, it's too green. I don't like the look of it. You can use your, bead scoops, whatever you need to sort of move stuff out of the way if you don't like it. And literally, that's all I did, was played until I came up with that design that you saw on my phone. So then I started doing the reality. Now I had a different stone that I was playing with. I'm going to show you, this is a work in progress, and I will show you the steps as I go through it. And we're going to have short little videos every week about the next step. So I want you to design something first. And when you design it, then we're going to talk about the next step. So the next step was to start beading. And I started with this centerpiece. I glued on my cabochon, and this is the lacy stiff stuff. And I just made some basic outline directions of where I wanted everything to go. I want this to narrow down a bit so that it loses some length by the time it gets to the end. I marked down where my end was, things like that. And then I started stitching on the beads. I first did it around the cabochon and then so forth, but we'll explain that further. But this is the test sample, and see those green beads? I'm not sure I like them. I put them in there, and then I went, I don't like them. So now I have to pull them out. So, so that's the process of sort of designing a new piece. Once you've figured out a piece, then you can do it in different colorways and stuff, and making some changes. There's lots of places to play and change. Like I can change these beads and this whole section in here really easily without even thinking about it. I could change the colors of these without even thinking about it. They're just, I thought they looked like sort of a braided cable rope, and it kind of adds to that sort of, older look of an older piece. But this is, as itself would be a beautiful cabochon. And I almost stopped there because I loved it so much as a cabochon. So that's where we're heading. We're heading to sort of, I'm probably going to use this piece instead with you guys to teach you sort of the process of how to do this. And I'm going to teach you all of it one step at a time. But the first step starts with your doodles. So please doodle. Make your doodles. Make them on whatever you want. Put them in a notepad. Lots of people put them in books. I like to be able to take them out of the book and put them back in the book, so I like them on Post-it notes. You can doodle on paper. You can make the doodles as elaborate as you want. They don't even have to be correct. They just have to be an idea. And then after you do the doodles, pull your beads out and start playing with your beads. And if you really wanted a teardrop bead and you don't have any at the house, then you probably should order some teardrop beads because it's going to take a little bit of time to get to you. So those are the things that you need to start doing. And start your design process. And I hope you learned something from this about sort of how I design stuff, how I think through things. And I'm thinking that these colors are much more springy, they're bright, they're more colorful, not so dreary and sort of, I don't know, antique-y looking. So I wanted to have some more fun with some more bright colors. So look forward to talking to you again, and keep on making from Manny's Makings. Bye-bye.